Well, Swifties rejoice. Taylor Swift surprising fans by bringing her Eras Tour to theaters a day earlier than planned. Early access showing begins today in the U.S. and in Canada, thanks to, quote, unprecedented demand for the concert film. Before the added showtimes, advance ticket sales had already surpassed $100 million. Now, IMAX upping the theater experience for fans with more immersive video quality and dynamic audio. More than 350 shows at IMAX theaters have already sold out. With more on how Taylor could shake up the movie industry, we want to bring in Richard Gelfond, CEO of IMAX. Richard, it's great to see you again. I'd love to get your perspective on this. Clearly, you've been in the industry for a very long time. Demand for this concert here at IMAX theaters, is it like anything that you've seen before? How would you characterize it?
I think we've seen demand like this, but we've seen it for big blockbuster movies. I don't think there's ever been a concert film like this ever before. And by the way, we could talk about it in a minute. The question is, will we ever see it again? I think Taylor is such a unicorn, such a special talent. This concert had so much publicity behind it. So many people couldn't see it, pent up demand. It's definitely a milestone kind of in the history of cinema in terms of excitement around a concert movie.
And Richard, how critical is it that this concert movie is debuting now, especially since the fall slate is a lot more bare compared to the summer?
Well, I think the timing is very fortunate, and that's because of the writer's strike, which recently settled, and the actor's strike, which is ongoing. You know, a few things got moved around. So there was much more flexibility for exhibitors to show the concert film now. So for IMAX, not fortunately for us, not a lot got moved around. But the timing of this one is very interesting. Originally, Exorcist was supposed to open this weekend, but when Taylor got dated, for now, Exorcist actually moved back a week. So this one was so powerful, it was able to change the theatrical release schedule, which again is unprecedented inside the industry. I think if you said a concert movie was going to make studios move their movies, you wouldn't have believed that in the abstract.
Yeah, Richard, that's remarkable that October, Friday the 13th, is no longer Exorcist Day. It is Taylor Swift Day. And all this considered, I mean, look, you buy your ticket to the movies, you expect to sit down. People got dressed up for Barbie over the summer. People are probably going to get dressed up for this. And if I'm a Swiftie going to see this, I'm probably not sitting down in my seat. Are you telling people to enjoy a different type of movie experience when you go see the Swift, the Eras Tour in feature film in IMAX?
Well, I don't think you have to tell them. That's the good news. We did a smaller film, which was fantastic. A couple weeks ago, we did the Talking Heads Stop Making Sense, and people were dancing in the aisles and jumping around. And it felt much more like a concert than it did a movie. And I think that's what's going to happen here, especially in IMAX. We have these huge speakers, very similar to concert speakers in the front and in the back, and you have this huge image. I think people are going to feel like they're in a concert. So, you know, again, if you watched it on streaming or you watched it in your house, I don't think you could capture that. But I think at the theater, and particularly in an IMAX experience, I think people are very much going to be transported as if they went to the concert, and I expect them to act in a similar way.
Richard, you have more artists now documenting or putting this motion picture type of production around some of their tours and concerts. How does IMAX and people in your position look to really make sure that you can replicate that experience, even if it's not Taylor Swift, to make sure that people feel like they're going into a concert that they might not have been able to buy tickets for? And are there other artists that you think about doing that with now off of this potential success story?
So in IMAX, we've been working on this for a number of years. So we've done Rolling Stones concert, actually 2 different ones in IMAX. We did Metallica, I just mentioned Talking Heads. We did Brandy Carlisle. So it's a focus for us. But again, the reason it's partly a focus for us is because we're the kind of venue where you could really feel like you're at a concert. When you're at a concert, let's face it, unless you're in the first few rows, you're watching a small image in person, but you're watching huge screens live and you're hearing that sound. So we think we're very close to that kind of experience. In terms of how does this change the future, I think there are very few artists that have the drawing power of Taylor Swift or Beyonce, which, as you know, is going to come out shortly. So I think for the right talent, this is a seminal event. But I don't think that this is a threat to the regular movie-going experience, because there are very few people who could pull these kind of numbers. And another important point is on the marketing side. I mean, a lot of talent would have to really spend a lot of money to market itself. Taylor shows up at an NFL game, or something goes on social media and they come, but not everyone has that drawing power.
And Richard, you mentioned the strikes. We finally got the conclusion of the writer's strike. The actor's strike is still ongoing. How do you think some of the challenges the entertainment industry has seen in 2023 will play out at the box office next year? And could new opportunities like live concert events be more the norm moving forward?
So I think, Allie, it depends on how quickly it settles. I think if the actors' strike settles relatively soon, I think 2024 will be mostly a normal year. And if it goes on much longer, which I don't think it will, and I hope it won't, I think it will be a normal year. But with that said, I do think the draw of alternative content and the numbers we're going to see this weekend are going to make it clear that other cultural events work. I think, we got kind of a little deluded during the pandemic that people wanted to sit in their living rooms. But I think for big cultural experiences, whether they're movies or concerts or sports events, we're definitely seeing a trend where people want to get out of their homes and they want to experience these things with other people in a shared experience.
All right. Well, I'm very excited to see this movie. I definitely think IMAX is the way to go here. Richard Gelfond, IMAX CEO, thank you so much for joining us.
See you at the movies, Allie.